Previously at the water's edge.
Embracing constructive feedback and learning from it is one of life's most important skills. So like when your coach is telling you that you're doing something wrong, like listen. If a teacher says your writing's not organized, listen. If a parent tells you that you're being stubborn, listen. And just have faith and have belief that all these people, they know what's best for you and they want what's best for you, and here's the instruction. What discipline is it's and some of you are thinking about this one, is choosing between what you want now and what you want most. It really is. That's what discipline is. It's that bridge to our goals and our dreams. It's choosing between what we want now and what we want most. The ability to discipline yourself to delay gratification in the short term in order to enjoy greater rewards in the long term is the most indispensable prerequisite for success.
Good morning, church. This is a really fun song for me. I like to sing a song to my 8-year-old to get him up in the morning, so I hope you enjoy. I was done, I was lost, I was asleep at the wheel, I was drifting off. My heart was failing, my heart was failing. In the dark, heard a song. It was the sweetest sound that I'd ever heard, and my soul went sailing. Yeah, my soul went sailing. I'm waking up, I can feel my heart beating and breath in my
Well, good morning, church, and thank you so much for joining us this morning. We are glad you're here. If you're joining us online, make sure you say hello and let us know where you're watching from. I'll be hanging out with you in the comments during the service today. If you're a guest with us, we would love to get to know you. Be sure to stop by our connections table on your way out. We would love to answer any questions you may have, and we actually have a really cool gift for you as well.
Yeah, and there's a lot of information in your bulletin that you picked up on the way in. Our mission here at the Water's Edge is for people to grow in relationship with Jesus, but also with each other. And one of the ways you can do both of those things at the same time is through We University. So every semester, we do a bunch of classes. Those are on the back of your bulletin if you want to check them out. There's men's groups, women's groups, Bible studies, leadership, a bunch of stuff. Make sure to check that out. That's going to start on Thursday nights on February 3rd. And we're also going to have childcare there. So if you have kids, they can come and join you at We University as well.
Another thing here at the church that's part of our mission is to serve our community. And one way that we can do that is through our We Provide drives. This month, we will be collecting peanut butter and jelly. Do we have any peanut butter and jelly fans in here? We will be, whether it's crunchy, grape, strawberry, creamy, whatever. While you're out this week at the grocery store and next week, pick up a jar of peanut butter and pick up a jar of jelly. Bring it back to the church by January 30th, and we will be giving those to the Lifehouse.
Yeah, and another cool opportunity we have to serve, you can find in your bulletin, is many of you have heard about the refugee crisis that happened in Afghanistan a few months ago, and the resettlement programs here in Omaha have been totally overwhelmed by that, and they've actually reached out to churches and asked for help to welcome and bring in these new families. So we are going to be sponsoring a refugee family this January that's coming from Afghanistan. So we're going to be collecting items to help set up their apartment, get them groceries, some clothes. As you know, these families have been through a lot, so we really want to welcome them to their new home, make them feel included and a part of the community. So there's a sign-up genius. We take some new items and some used items, and we'll be collecting those throughout January as well.
So Leandra mentioned earlier that one of the things we want to do is connect you with others, and we have a great opportunity coming up in February to do that. It's our annual chili cook-off. Now, we've had to take a hiatus from this, but it's one of our most fun events that we do here at the Water's Edge. So if you are a chili cooker, chili chef, I'm not quite
we need
sure.
someone to beat Pastor Craig this year.
Yes, somebody to beat Pastor Craig. You get this amazing trophy. Those of you who have seen it know it's absolutely beautiful. But we just want to put that on your radar. It's going to be Sunday, February 6th from 5 to 7 p.m. Now, even if you are not a chili chef, this event's for you. We would love for you guys to join us and just be a part of this night.
Yeah, I make a pot every year, and I just Google chili recipe, so you can do that. It's really easy.
Pinterest is perfect for that.
I think someone is trying to get a hold of you. Your phone is blowing up.
What in the world? Do y'all
You're
hear
supposed
that?
to put it on
Do y'all
silent
hear
up
that?
here.
Yeah, usually I put it on airplane mode, but oh, nice. So have you ever gotten a text that like just totally ruined your day?
Yeah, the one where you like type a long response, then you delete it all before you send it.
You're supposed to delete those?
Yes.
Oh, well, yeah. So have any of you guys ever experienced that? You were having a great day and maybe somebody texted you, blew up your phone kind of like they're doing right now, and it just totally threw off? Anybody? Yeah, it's crazy how words have an impact on us, isn't it?
Yeah, and we've been reading through Proverbs. We're 8 days in now. And I've noticed in there, like, there's a lot of different wisdom, but there's a lot of mention about words and the power of words and how they affect us.
Yeah, and actually today we're going to take a look at that. We're going to take a look at the power of our words and how we should use them. So before we do that, though, how about you guys all stand as you're able and join AJ and the band in worship? And while you guys do that, I'm going to respond to this text from Craig.
You might want to wait until you hear the sermon.
Yeah, we'll see.
Well, good morning, church. Gotta pray glory comes. Before his name, every knee must bow. Throw off your chains, Jesus destroyed them all. Up from the grave, he's with us now. Light of the world, trample the darkness. Nothing can stop it. You are the God of the promise. Every word will be accomplished. Nothing can stop it. You are the God of the promise. The gates of hell never stand a chance. Your name prevails, Jesus, the great I am. No words will fail, no weapon formed against. Your name prevails, Jesus, the great I am. The gates of hell will never stand a chance. Your name prevails, Jesus, the great I am. No word will fail, no weapon formed against. Your name prevails, Jesus, the great I am. Light of the world, trample the darkness, and nothing can stop it. You are the God of the promise. Every word will be accomplished. Nothing can stop it. You are the God of the promise. You stood before creation, eternity in your hand. You soak the earth in motion, my soul now to stand. You stood before my failures, carry the cross for my shame. My sin weighed upon your shoulders, my soul now to stand. So what can I say? And what can I do? But all that is hard, oh God, completely to you. So I will propose salvation, your spirit alive in me, so that to declare your promise, my soul now to stand. So what can I say? What can I do? But all that is hard, oh God, completely to you. Thank you for singing with us, church. You may be seated.
The words of godly encouragement. Proverbs 10, verse 21. It is foolish to belittle one's neighbors. A sensible person keeps quiet. A gossip goes around telling secrets. But those who are trustworthy and can keep confidence. Proverbs 10, verse 12 through 13.
A fool is quick-tempered, but a wise person stays calm when insulted. Proverbs 12:16.
Some people make cutting remarks, but the words of the wise bring healing. Proverbs 12:18.
Worry weighs a person down. Encouraging words cheers a person up. Proverbs chapter 12, verse 25.
Those who control their tongue will have a lifelong. Opening your mouth can ruin everything. Proverbs 13:3.
So welcome, I'm Craig Finstead, one of the pastors here at the Water's Edge. In your bulletin, you have a little postcard. It's got like a quote from me I think you'll hear later in the sermon, and it's got like an invitation. So I encourage you to invite people to come and worship with us. This is kind of a really cool way to do it. You're just saying like, I'm getting something out of it. I'd love to have you come and get something out of it with me. Really encourage you to invite them to the chili feed as well. That's a great first thing to invite someone to. I've often thought we should change the chili feed. Have you ever seen that show like Beat Bobby Flay? Like where he takes on like the best cooks and like the good guy still always wins. I thought we could change it to like Beat Pastor Craig and like see if the good guy wins or not. But no, there's just some awesome chili that's made, and it's a great way to meet people. So just a number of things to invite people to. It's one of the ways that we can share our faith, and I think one of the coolest things that we can do is be a testimony in someone's life. You know, who knows, one simple invitation might mean that, they come to worship and they met someone or they heard a word, and all of a sudden they're following Jesus, and all of a sudden their life has changed, and it was because you invited them. So encourage you to do that. So I grew up in Northwest Iowa. Many of you who are around here know that. Where do you think I wanted to go to college when I was a junior and a senior in high school? What do you think my first pick was? Yeah, Nebraska. Yeah. Well, they played good football back then, so it was enticing. We didn't get much of that in Iowa, and still don't. Now I wanted to go to the U.S. Naval Academy. I really wanted to be an officer in the Marines, and I'm glad it didn't work out because I wouldn't have been able to have this spiky haircut my entire adult life. But President Reagan was kind of an inspiring leader, and there's just a lot of cool stuff going on at the time, and I thought I wanted to like help the cause out. So it's not the easiest school to get into. I did everything I thought I needed to do. I got all A's, except in typing. Does anyone remember when you had to take typing, like in 10th grade? Yeah, so I got like a C because I have like the worst motor skills. I was like at 13 words a minute, and every other word was misspelled. And not that I'm still bitter about not being the class valedictorian because I got a C in typing, and my two competitions both got A's. Did all right on the ACT, played a lot of sports, did a lot of activities. You can do that at small schools. So I don't know what it's like today, but back then you had to have a nomination or an endorsement from your congressman. So I'm going to show you a picture of my congressman. This is actually true. Hopefully we'll show you a picture of the, there he is. So do you guys remember, who is this? Do you guys remember? Yeah, Gopher from the Love Boat. So we'll see what Gopher did when he got out of the Love Boat. There he goes, Fred Grandy. He was congressman of the 6th District in Iowa. So he was the guy that was going to get me to the Naval Academy. If he could get people out of the binds on the Love Boat, like he could get me to the Naval Academy, I was like a sure thing on this thing. He's like turned water into wine before, and like this is like getting someone pretty good into something great. He's a funny guy, I'm a funny guy, he's an actor, I was in the school play, I was a shoo-in. Annapolis, here I come. So filled out the paperwork. I interviewed with a group of people. It wasn't him, just a group of people he selected. So then one day I got a letter, and so that was in 1988. So think about the power of words here, all right? I would have read these words 34 years ago. There's the power of words. So the words said something along the lines of many excellent candidates. Have any of you ever got one of those letters before? Were interviewed, and only the most qualified were selected, and unfortunately, you're not part of that select group. All right, so I'm not going to be a Marine. Isn't it crazy, though? Like, 34 years. Unfortunately, you're not part of that select group. Like, I still remember those words. That's the power of words. Yeah, I was going to take a video this morning, but I didn't have time. If you go up to my little office up there, like we all share a big office together, but I got this little space in there. And if you look at my desk and then my bookshelf, and then like there's a ledge behind my desk, what I do is I keep every thank you card that's written to me that year. So in January, there's, like 10 of them. In February, there's 20. By the end of the year, there could be easily over 100 cards up there. And if you go up there now, there is, because I haven't had time to clean 2021 yet to make room for 2022. And then at the end of the year, what I do is I put them in a file, and all these will be probably taken down hopefully this week, and they'll go in a folder called 2021. So sometimes when I'm kind of discouraged, I'll just pick up 2 or 3 random ones. It could have been from January, it could have been from July, and I'll just read them. Because good words, what do? They feed your soul. Good words, they build solidarity and community. I read every single one of them. Some are short and sweet and just a couple sentences. Some, are quite lengthy. Now, here, I have never received a card with adverse words before. I've gotten some emails with those, and I have a special file for those as well. But the cards are good, like gratitude and cheer and encouragement. And so I keep these cards on my desk. They're like a visible reminder that people are on my side. The words, they tell me that story. The words in the cards are a blessing to me. So we're in a 5-week study on the book of Proverbs. Last week we looked at the benefits and the blessings of delayed gratification, and how discipline can really move us to places that we need to go in life. Now today we're going to look at the power and the potential of words. So our first scripture is from Proverbs 18, verse 21. Words kill, words give life. So we've already seen that they can do both those. Your personal experience tells you that words can do both those. They're either poison or fruit. You get to choose. So you get to choose. You can't control a lot of things in life. One thing you can control is every word that comes out of your mouth, and you get to choose if what comes out of your mouth is poison, or you get to choose if it's fruit. Lately, for the weddings I've been doing, I meet the couple at Shucks. I've done this about 5 or 6 weddings in a row, and so some of you are saying, well, Craig, you did our wedding 2 years ago. We had to meet in that conference room. Okay, if you want to go to Shucks, just let me know. I'll take you to Shucks. But the reason I do it is they have paper, for the tablecloths. So if I remember, I just bring some crayons, and if not, the couple uses some writing utensils of their own. So one thing I typically have them do, if I remember, is I'll have each of them write on the tablecloth, kind of over by the other person. And I'd ask the question, if you were to tell the whole world about the person you're getting married to, in one sentence, what would you say? So they have to think about this. This gives me a chance to eat my walleye. And they write, and then the other person reads it, and it's this really cool moment. And then what I'll have them do is I'll have them face each other, even in the crowded restaurant. It's really cool. And I'll say, okay, what I want you to do is tell the other person just 2 things that you just absolutely love about them, and they'll do that. And then I'll say I just want you to thank them for something they've done in recent months. and they'll do that. And I had this server one time that says, hey, I don't know who you are, but can you do that thing with me and my boyfriend sometime? Because I think it would help. But it's like these holy moments, because what's the holy moment? It's not that you're in a crowded restaurant. It's not that you're with, some random guy doing your wedding. The holy moments is you're like sharing these fruitful, blessed, sacred, holy words with another human being. And like words are what connects us almost like anything else. So what does Jesus have to say about words? Here's what Jesus has to say about words. In Matthew chapter 12, verse 37, words are powerful. So Jesus actually says, words are powerful. Take them seriously. Words can be your salvation, and words can be your damnation. And Jesus is saying, like, the quality of your life is going to be largely determined by the quality of your words. These things can bless you. These things can curse you. At our staff meeting on Tuesday, what I had us do is was, for those of you who are doing the Bible reading plan, it would have been the 4th day. And if you're not on the Bible reading plan, just go to the website, weomaha.com, and just check out the Bible reading plans we have. Just if you didn't do 1 through 7, that's fine. Just start with chapter 8 tomorrow. But on Tuesday, we went around the room, and I said, I want to hear from y'all, like how God spoke to you in Proverbs 4, because there's 6 or 7 of us there. So there's going to be different things that God speaks, because we're all different. So one person said, guard your heart. It was Proverbs 4, verses 23 through 24, and guard your heart above all else, for it determines the course of your life. Avoid all perverse talk. Stay away from corrupt speech. So I knew I was going to be talking about words, and I actually had to go back and look at this one again because it was really intriguing to me. So just leave the text up there for a second. So he's saying here, guard your heart. Protect your heart, purify your heart, make sure your heart is right, because this determines the course of our life. So if you have a corrupt heart, you're going to speak corrupt words. If you have a pure heart, your words are going to be pure. So the words have a correlation to the status of our heart. Then he says this. He says, right after that, avoid perverse talk, because he knows that what's in our heart is going to shape our heart. So he says, shape our words. So he says, guard your heart, avoid the perverse talk, and stay away from corrupt speech. Now, a heart that's angry and frustrated and bitter, good words are going to be hard to come by. A heart that is just pursuing the love of God, and a heart that has a high value for others. Jesus says, love God and love others. A heart that's doing its best to love others. We're going to get good words from that heart. So from a negative heart is going to overflow harsh words, which generally become destructive actions, which lead to a miserable life. So that's why Proverbs says, guard your heart, because your life depends on it. Jesus says words are powerful. They'll condemn you, or they'll save you. Likewise, we can put a positive spin on this. From a loving heart overflows beautiful words, which generally become compassionate actions, which then lead to a blessed life. So I'm going to give us some practical things to think about today, but before I do that, I want to make the case for forming your heart. I look around here and I know that some of you work so hard to form your financial future. Some of you work really hard to form your interpersonal relationships. Some of you work really hard to form your child as an athlete. Some of you work really hard on your report card, and there's nothing wrong with any of these things. But form your heart. Put more effort into forming your heart than you do any of these things. This is what matters. Form your heart, and from your heart, then you'll fall more in love with God, and you'll care more about people, and you'll treat them better. And and this will change your heart and it will change your words, and you can do these things. So now here's the practical things. One is avoid angry rants. Does anyone wish they would have read this bullet point earlier? Has anyone ever been bitten by this one? So when we're not under stress, usually the good words are pretty easy. Sometimes when the stress comes, we're not thinking our best. I was on the interview team. Millard, one of the Millard high schools is hiring a new assistant principal, and I was on the interview team that interviewed the person, and I was the only non-educator on the team. And one of the things I really wanted to see is how the person reacted to stress, and I think they kind of saw a lot of the questions that were coming that had to do with academics. And I said, well, what about when you get a scathing email from a parent? How are you going to respond to that? And they had good answers. And then I followed it up though with another question. I'd say, okay, so when that doesn't work, what are you going to do next? So I wasn't actually overly interested in their next response. I was interested in how they dealt with the stress, because stress is going to be part of that job. So the ones who handled the question really well were great candidates. The ones who stumbled, when stress comes into their life, probably not quite qualified for this position. Now, let's look at when we're under stress with anger, because it's pretty easy in life to speak good words when things are good, not so much when things are bad. So fools have short fuses and explode all too quickly. This is from Proverbs 12:16. Here's what the prudent do. The prudent quietly shrug off insults. So insults in life are going to come. You're probably going to get them from the person you're married to. You'll get them from the people you work with. You'll get them from strangers. You might get them from kids. You might get them from parents. You might get them from siblings, from friends, whoever. Insults will come. So that's just the reality. That's normal. It happens. So your reaction, you don't control whether they come or not. Your reaction is what you do control. So do you escalate and explode? Option A. Or do you shrug off and seek to calm an anxious system? It's you know which one's right. But sometimes, for some of us, being right is more important than doing what's right. So we escalate and explode because we want to be right, as opposed to shrug off and calm down, doing what's right. As I look back on my life, I can show you on 0 fingers how many times escalating has worked out well for me and the other party. It has never happened. Escalation is not the way to do this. I hurt others, I hurt myself, I hurt the relationship. Sometimes I've been a bad witness because I was not capable of not being right. I had to and not do what was right. Love this one in Proverbs 15:1. So a gentle answer deflects anger. So when that insult comes, a gentle answer, it deflects anger, but harsh words make tempers flare. So I have a pastor friend. He's the pastor of a Lutheran church here in town, and we have a lot of similarities, so we get together probably once a month, once every other month. I was meeting with him this week, and he had talked about an email that he got from a parishioner, and it wasn't a very kind email. And I asked him how he responded, and what he said to me was just pure gold. And I didn't even remember, I don't remember what he said, how he responded, what he said in his response. I remember what he said before he responded. He said, after I waited a few days, I replied to them and said. So that is gold. After he waited a few days. Not when the fuse was hot, not when the anger was just really present, but after he had reflected, after he had calmed down, that's wisdom. So there's an old saying, speak when you're angry. You guys know the rest? And you'll make the best speech that you will ever regret. A lot of truth in that one. Some of you have been there before. Speak from better places than anger. Speak from reflection. Speak from grace. speak from compassion. Don't speak from anger. You're going to make the best speech that you'll ever regret. All right, number 2, don't generate gossip. All right, so I guess gossip probably is fun. Now, spending money you don't have, that's also fun. It's not very wise. Just because something's fun, it doesn't mean you do it. It doesn't make it good. So Proverbs 10:18 talks about gossip. Lips that lie cover deep-seated hatred. And whoever spreads a libelous rumor, whoever gossips, is acting like a fool. So Proverbs calls gossip foolishness. Now, it's foolish for a number of reasons. You don't gossip about someone you love. Like, that's just something you don't do. And Jesus, he tells us to love everybody. So therefore, you just don't gossip. What gossip does is it focuses us on pointing out the shortcomings of somebody else instead of, evaluating our own shortcomings. It takes the issue away from us and puts it onto others. I'll tell you this, gossip has never strengthened a relationship, ever. Any relationship. Proverbs 16, verse 28, perverse people. Listen to that word he uses here. Like about gossip, he says perverse. Like, this is a strong word, and I think it gets like the destructive power of gossip. Perverse people stir up contention. Gossip makes best friends into enemies. So think about words like nitroglycerin. So nitroglycerin is like the primary ingredient in dynamite. It can blow up a bridge. Now, nitroglycerin is also a medication. If you're having a heart attack, it can save your life. So in one place it can be destructive, in one place it can be like life-saving. Words are this way, and gossip is like blowing up the bridge. Graceful speech, it heals and unifies. Gossip destroys. Like, here's a challenge, stop doing it. Here's a second challenge, if someone else is doing it, like, don't listen. Proverbs 18:8 says, listening to gossip is like eating cheap candy. Do you really want that junk in your belly? Now, here's the problem. Like, here's what you do. Like, if someone gossips, you can say, I don't know if what you're saying is overly helpful. I'm not quite sure if it's true, and the person that we're talking about isn't here to give us their perspective. I gave up gossiping, and I gave up listening to gossip quite a while ago, and it was actually like a really good decision. So as far as I'm concerned, let's suspend this conversation until the right people are in the room. Like, that's all you gotta say. Now, if you don't want to like talk like a psychologist, all you gotta say is like, hey, I gave up listening to gossip, and I haven't regretted this decision once, so the conversation ends here. That's the other way to do it. Now, there's another reason not to gossip. Like, in my occupation, the most important thing is trust. Like, if Bob told me something and I went and told Dale, and then Dale's got a big mouth, he'll tell everybody. Bob is never going to trust me again, nor should he. No one else is either, because you've broken the confidence, you've broken the trust, and gossip does that. Proverbs 20, verse 19, gossips can't keep secrets, so never confide in blabbermouths, and you know this. There's certain people I'm not going to tell certain things to, because I don't have that trust that they're going to keep what I told them in confidence. There's no winners with gossip, only losers. So here's the deal with gossip. It's created by critical people, it's spread by spiteful people, and it's accepted by insecure people. So look at gossip, that's who's involved with it. Don't gossip, don't listen to gossip. Yeah, better options, like stand up for those who aren't present and speak better, life-giving words. All right, number 3, contain your complaining. Isn't it a joy to be in the presence of a complainer? Like, don't seriously, they just suck the life out of you. I'd rather spend a morning getting a root canal, in an afternoon going to like a proctologist and getting a colonoscopy, than I would to spend all day with a complainer. Like that is how draining complainers are. So this proverb's really funny. I love it. It's better to live alone in the desert than with a quarrelsome, complaining wife. Hey, it's not me. This is in the Bible. I'm just the messenger. If you got an issue with that, take it up with God. So in this case, Proverbs was most likely written by Solomon, who was a man. If it was a woman, it could read, "It's better to live alone in a desert than with a quarrelsome, complaining husband." So it's, yeah. So it's all right to vent. There's a difference between venting and complaining. I want to let you know what the two are. So venting deals with your own personal stuff. So for example, I have a coach. I hire a woman to coach me when I need someone to talk to, and I actually called her up the week of Christmas, and I said, I need to talk. So we had a hour session, and I think for probably 45 of the 60 minutes, I vented. I probably said something like, it's a really busy season, and I think I'm about as tired as I've ever been. There should be a season of joy, and talking about joy in 3 nights, and I'm not feeling it right now. So that was me venting to her. I need that, and you need that. We need safe people who will listen to us. Now, complaining is different. Complainers only see things from their point of view. They're not open to other possibilities. Complainers are always right. He never listens to me. Nobody respects me. She's such a bad person. That's complaining, and you don't need that, and nobody else does either. Paul says in Philippians, do all things without complaining. All things. Not something, do all things without complaining or bickering with each other. Complaining, it doesn't solve a single problem. Just think about what would happen in your life if the time you spent complaining, you used to grow or solve problems or serve people. I think for Americans in 2022 and West Omaha, in the grand scheme of things, most of us don't have much to complain about anyway. We complain about our power bill being higher, and there's some people downtown that are living in a car. We complain about the gas prices, and there's someone who only has the option to walk. We complain about our kids, and there's someone out there that would just love a child of her own. I think in the grand scheme of things, we don't have a lot to complain about. So I was at a restaurant a while back with a guy in the church, and it was a Monday night, and we had to wait 45 minutes. So we sat there and talked, and this couple came in right behind us, and they had to wait 45 minutes. So for the next 45 minutes, they complained. And I'm like, seriously? You could tell the restaurant was half full, so it wasn't a space issue. It was they didn't have enough workers. You have enough money, to come to this place and buy food and have someone cook that food for you, and they serve you and they clean up after you, and you're complaining that you have to wait to do that, when these people are working their tails off, trying to do that. I love this guy. He's a devout Christian, or he was a devout Christian. So between 1964 and 1975, UCLA, their men's basketball team, just in that 11-year period, they won 10 national championships. John Wooden, their coach, was named the greatest coach of any sport of the 20th century. And here's what he says about complaining. And this man has developed some great leaders and some great athletes. And he says about complaining, champions don't complain. They're too busy getting better. So just cut out the complaining. You got 24 hours every day, and every minute you spend complaining is a waste of one of those 24 hours. The last one is cease your criticizing. You can criticize, nitpick, point out the flaws of others. You feel better about yourself by pointing out other people's imperfections. Build yourself up by tearing someone else down. So Proverbs has no part of that. Proverbs in chapter 12, verse 18 says, some people make cutting remarks, some people criticize, but the words of the wise, they're healing. So, stop criticizing your kids, stop criticizing your spouse, stop criticizing your teacher. Stop criticizing like the referee at your kid's basketball game. Like this guy's making $17 a game. He didn't wake up this morning and say, well, I'm going to get that kid over there. I'm going to prevent that team. He's doing his best job. And in fact, he may actually be there because basketball was a blessing in his life, and he just wants to make sure that basketball is possible for everybody else. People are looking for support these days, not judgment. So here's the deal. If you can't think of anything good to say, you have another option, and that other option is called silence. We don't need judges. We don't need critics. We need something better. Criticizing others, it doesn't make you smarter or better than the one you're criticizing. All it does is just make you mean. That's all it does. All right, so I'm going to have us try a couple things instead of those 4 things. The first is to encourage. It's tough out there these days, so don't raise your hand. This is the private question, but have you tried to book an appointment with a therapist or a psychologist these days? They're going to tell you to wait weeks. Some are going to tell you to wait months. Some are going to say just try someone else. It's not going to happen. And the reason why is it's tough out there these days. Like anxiety, depression, these things are at an all-time high. The supply is not nearly as high as the demand right now. Anxiety is through the roof in our culture. So Proverbs talks about anxiety and encouragement in the same sentence. So worry weighs a person down. An encouraging word cheers a person up. The world doesn't need more angry rants. The world doesn't need more criticism. The world doesn't need these bad words. The world needs better words, encouraging and building up. And just think about this. This is a reflection thing for you. How you make others feel about themselves is going to say a lot about you. It is. It will determine the quality of your relationships. It will determine your ethos. It will determine your legacy. Keep encouraging others. And here's why. You never know. Your good words may be one of the few sources of strength for someone just kind of holding themselves up or trying to pull themselves up. Be quick to praise. Find the good in somebody and tell them about it. It will be a blessing to you and the other person. And the last one I got is, in addition to encouragement, is gratitude. We have lots of choices in life. So here's some of the choices you got. You can take things for granted, or you can be grateful. You can take people for granted, or you can be grateful for them. You can focus on scarcity, or you can focus on abundance. You can be jealous and envious of other people, or you can be grateful for what you have and what you've been blessed with. Proverbs talks about that. It's healthy to be content. Other translations say grateful. But envy can eat you up. So a simple thank you, it does 2 things. It blesses the one who hears the words. Because when you hear the words thank you, what you're hearing is that you're accepted, that you're valued, that your purpose is meaningful, that your effort was appreciated. That's one of the 2 things that gratitude does. The other thing is for the one who speaks the words. Now, all of a sudden, I have solidarity with another person. I practice abundance and not scarcity, and I'm aware then of the blessing, so I say thank you. A grateful heart that overflows grateful words then is like the beginning of greatness. So a few years ago, my son Benjamin graduated from college. This would have been 2019. So I coached a soccer team that he was on, and those of you who were around there back then are painfully aware of this. So I coached the kids, I think, from probably 5th grade to at the end of their 8th grade year. And probably by that time, I had 13 or 14 kids on the team. These kids actually went to 9 or 10 different high schools. So I basically lost track of pretty much all of them except 1 or 2. And when came time for the graduations, there's 2 or 3 that invited me. I thought that was really cool, and I went. There's one that actually sat down and he wrote me a letter, and I didn't know if he did this for a lot of people or if it was just for me, and it doesn't matter. And he was not the easiest kid to coach, and he just said like all these really cool things. Like, I know this was a lot of work, thank you. You taught us about a lot of things, thank you for that. And the letter's still upstairs, it's in the file 2019. And as I read this letter, like there's a little tear that, flowed down my cheek. But then I thought about like something else. And this caused like a bigger tear to go down my other cheek, and that was that this kid has learned one of the most important lessons in life, and that is practicing gratitude. This one lesson is going to get this kid a long way. It wasn't me, it was someone else. Someone else taught him this along the way. And because of that, he's going to be blessed. Now, when I was in seminary, I had a professor that told me when you just preach from the Old Testament, you still have to talk about Jesus. I doubt he listens to my sermons anymore. That was like 24 years ago. But I want to talk about Jesus for a second, because Jesus, he didn't gossip. Jesus didn't come down from the mountain, and Jesus didn't say, hey, can you believe this? James and John, they wanted to know which one of them was the best. And Peter, like he saw God's glory. He didn't want to come down because he doesn't like y'all. He wanted to be up there with God. Jesus didn't do that. Jesus, he got angry. Never once did Jesus say bad words out of his anger. He challenged people sometimes. Like, he was angry. He went in there and they were selling stuff in the sanctuary, and he said, this is my Father's house. This is a house of prayer. Even in his anger, he was just teaching the truth and doing so in love. Jesus didn't criticize. Like the Pharisees, he asked them tough questions that, led them to the truth, but he didn't criticize. Jesus didn't complain. If there's anyone that ever had the right to complain, it was Jesus at the end of his life. And he just didn't do it. Father, I pray that this doesn't happen, but if it's your will, let it be done. That's the closest he came. But what did Jesus do? Jesus encouraged. Those words like, I don't condemn you. Those words like, you're forgiven. Those words like, Simon, your name is no longer Simon, it's Petros, it's Peter, it's Rock. And upon your life, I'm going to build this church. Like, he believed in people like that. And in the end, Jesus was as grateful as they come. He knew what was going to happen the next day. And he took the bread and he blessed it. And then what did he do next? He gave thanks. This is my body that is given for you. Later in the meal, he took the wine. He knew what was going to happen. He foreshadowed and he said, like, this is my blood. It's the blood of the new covenant that's poured out for you and the forgiveness of your sins. And he gave thanks for that wine. So if you look at a life that was built upon words, you need to look no further than Jesus. And as followers of Jesus, our lives are to be like his lives. And I pray for all of us. The words that we speak are words that are real. They're holy. They're pure. They build community. They pick up the downtrodden. They raise us to new levels of life. So let us pray. God, we pray right now, for words. Lord, I know that there's some right here that right now that have been spoken words to, and these words were hurtful, and we can just see the power in words. Lord, there's many of us that after reflecting, maybe we do gossip too much, maybe we complain too much, maybe we're critical of people we love, maybe we're critical of people that you love. Lord, maybe in anger we haven't spoken words that glorify you or words that build community. And God, maybe there's times that we've missed out on gratitude. There's times that we've missed out on encouragement. Lord, help us to use words better, to stop using words that destroy and start and continue and use even more words that heal and give life. Lord, help us to be like you. Help us to be like you and help our words be a blessing to others and a blessing to us. So God, together now in one voice, we come and pray the prayer that Jesus taught us to pray. Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, and the power, and the glory forever. Amen. All right, so we got one more act of worship. The band's going to sing a song, and it's a time of reflection for us. On the chair that you're sitting on, or the chair behind you, or beside you, or in front of you, or maybe it's on your lap, there's a blank sheet of paper on one side, and the other side says the words of the godly encourage many. I want this to be a time of worship, and maybe like you just want to get out your phone and text somebody. So maybe you write a note to the person sitting next to you. Maybe you write a note to someone, and you put like a stamp on it, and you send it to them. Maybe you give it to them tomorrow at school or at work. Maybe the text message is just a simple thing of encouragement or gratitude. But I thought it'd be really, really powerful. Those of you online, just do this on your phones. If hundreds of us this morning just did this right now, that we spoke a word of encouragement to someone, and give it to the person sitting next to you and just make her day, or give it to the person at school tomorrow and make the teacher's day. Send it to a person you're in some conflict with and just say, I'm sorry, we're going to get through this. Whatever it is, God's leading you. But do this. Hundreds of these good words are going to be so much more powerful than like 0 of these good words. So this is a chance for us to reflect and practice what Christ teaches us.
You go before, I know that you've even gone to win my
When I thought I lost me, you know where I left me. You reintroduced me to your love. You picked up all my pieces, pulled me back together. You are the defender of my heart. When I thought I lost me, you know where I left me. Reintroduced me to your love. Picked up all my pieces, pulled me back together. You are the defender. So much better your way. So much better. So much better. So much better. So much better. So much better.
Will you join me in one voice as we close our service with our benediction? May our words be used to bring out the best in others. May we be a blessing through the words that encourage and give life. Let us be thankful for the way our Father fills our hearts with affirmation so that we can affirm those around us each day. Have a great week, and we'll see you soon at the water's edge.